Welcome back to Unfiltered, my GLP-1 journey on Zepbound. If you're just joining us, this is week 7. My name is Nikki, and I am a fitness fan and foodie who decided to document this journey truly for myself. I was doing this as a way to see the growth and see the change week over week. And what I've realized through this is that some of the comments that I've received from so many of you has been so invaluable. So thank you. I have finally broken the double-digit mark. I am 10 pounds down and about 7 weeks in, which is actually a really great average of about 1.4 pounds per week. And this week's theme is most definitely gratitude. I'm grateful for a few things, and I'll get into that in a minute. As I mentioned, I'm a fitness fan and foodie, and I have been a lifelong advocate for healthy living and taking care of your mind, body, and soul. And I ran into this stumbling block in these last few years where no matter what I did, I just couldn't get the weight to budge. And so I turned to the GLP-1 drug, Zepbound, to get some support. I was not looking for a quick fix. At least that's what I was telling myself. But the reality is, once I got started, after that first week when I dropped about 6 pounds, I plateaued for a couple of weeks. And I was really frustrated. I had started on the starter dose of 2.5 milligrams, and I didn't see any other results after that first week. And then 1 month in, I started on the next level up. I started on the 5 milligram dose, and that's when I started to see a little bit of movement. Inches started to move. My clothes started fitting better. But this week, it was more than just the clothes fitting better. This week, what I realized is that I was beginning to like the way I looked in my clothes, which is a very different place, and it gives a whole different kind of confidence when you can look in the mirror and really appreciate the way you look. At least I can say that's true for me. And I just am so grateful to be in this place. And as I reflect back on this journey for the last 7 weeks, the other thing I realized is that I am grateful that it's been slow going. Because in hindsight, I have noticed people that I have not seen in a few months and then sort of run into them. And the difference is so stark between where they were just a couple of months before to where they are in that moment, that it's so obvious that they're on this weight loss drug or almost looking emaciated or gaunt or even ill. I actually had someone who I thought was genuinely sick. And so in contrast, I guess I'm really, really grateful that I'm not looking, I certainly don't feel like I'm looking that way. I don't feel like I'm looking gaunt or lean or too thin or sickly in my clothes. I have a different level of confidence now that I'm really, really grateful for. My goal weight is 125 pounds, which is about 8 pounds to go because I weighed in at 132.9 this morning. And I started this right around 143 pounds. So I'm literally at that 10-point mark right now. I realized that, your body and the skin need time to adapt. And one of the other things that I had a friend of mine say to me when she also was on this or is on this and is quite kind of in maintenance mode, and we'll talk about that in a minute, is that she complained about, loose skin. And I definitely went into this with that little bit of fear that what happens if I lose so much muscle mass? Because of course you're going to lose weight, but of course part of that is going to be muscle mass. It's not going to be just fat. And so that was the other thing that I was concerned about. And I'm happy to say that I haven't experienced that. Another one of my fears was that I heard stories about people just not wanting to eat, not feeling like eating, not enjoying food. And, if I look back on my first week video, that was one of my biggest concerns was, am I going to have such a dramatic shift in my palate and in my appetite and my desire to eat that I'm just going to be put off food forever? And that would have been something too hard to bear because I am a foodie. I love food. And I'm so happy to report that I still love food. I'm eating it much more mindfully. I'm eating it a lot more deliberately in much smaller portions than even when I thought I was eating small portions. If in hindsight, maybe they were not really that small, which is why my body was, not shifting. But now I understand what small portions is. I'm also finding that I have to eat a little bit more regularly. And a couple of weeks ago, I had talked about trying to do, eat every 2 hours. I haven't quite mastered that. And one of the things that I observed is that eating every 2 hours would mean snacks in between the meals. And that's the one thing that I haven't wanted is snacking. And I'm really grateful for that because that I think was probably one of my big weaknesses was, noshing in between meals was a big part of my daily diet. And I don't snack at all. So if so far this medication has helped me develop patience, it's helped me kick the snack habit. It's helped me be more mindful about my food intake. It's helped me appreciate flavors more because I am being more mindful about my food intake. I'm not just eating because I'm enjoying the flavor. I'm actually savoring because I know I'm not going to be able to eat too big a portion. So every bite matters. And I love that so much. The other big consideration that I want to talk about this week is the cost. Because let's be honest, I think I'd already shared insurance rejected this for me. They didn't think I fit the bill. So I'm footing this entire cost out of pocket, and $500 a month is no joke. I'm very grateful that I have the support of my family to do this, to invest this money in myself. And I recognize that if I want to hit my goal weight, if I'm going at the pace that I have been going, which is this average of 1.4, 1.5 pounds per week, then it's going to take me at least another 6 to 7 weeks before I get to that 125. Which means if I take it from start to finish, if I do in fact sustain it till then, it'll be an almost $3,500 investment that I will have put into this. Which, when I started out this year, I would have laughed in your face if you had told me that I was going to spend this kind of money on myself. Because I don't. The reality is that I just don't. And so that's another thing that I think I'm learning is it's okay. It's sort of giving me permission to be kind to myself and to believe that I'm worth it. I won't think anything of spending that kind of money on my family or on a trip because I feel like it's got memories attached to that and we're making these memories together. But I would never have dreamt of spending that kind of money on myself. And I'm grateful to have a family that has supported me through this. I talked a little bit about clothes fitting better in the past, and I feel like I'm in this new place where I like the way I'm looking in my clothes, so I have a much better body image. What I'm going for is I want to love the way I look without my clothes on. I want to be able to look in the mirror before I step in the shower and like what I see. And I've never had that feeling. If I'm to be honest, I've never had that feeling. And that's what I'm striving for. It's I can't explain this. It's just something that I feel like I have to have for myself. And so that's what I'm striving for. The other big topic that's swirling around in my head is the idea of maintenance. I don't see myself on this drug forever. This was always supposed to be a help me to get over this hurdle, help me to reset my metabolism, help me to reset my relationship with food, help me to reset my body image, help me to understand my body better. And I know that at some point I will want to taper off. But will I be able to maintain that ideal goal weight? I'm only 5'3". So 125 pounds by all accounts is an ideal weight, not just because I know I look amazing at that weight, but because I know that for my frame, for my height, that's a good weight. So the question really for me is, will I be able to maintain that weight by myself, or will my body try and claw its way back to 143? So that's giving me a little bit of pause. And if you have any experience with this, I would love to hear your comments about this. Here we are, week 7. I'm 10 pounds down, feeling really great in my clothes, striving to look great or feel great without my clothes. I did take before pictures when I first got started in my underclothes, And I will be taking after pictures and probably in the next week or two. And I will share those with you because I promise this to be an unfiltered, real journey. So I will share those with you for sure. I'm not there yet, not quite there. I'm not confident enough to be that open to there's sort of like, there's no filter on that. And I'm getting there. Let's just say I'm getting there. But I'm really, really grateful for what I'm also learning along the way mentally, patience, tolerance of self, learning to love myself in a different way than I have ever loved myself before. I thought I was very self-aware, and this is taking it to a whole other level. And it's truly humbling, this experience. Well, if you have any thoughts about the one thing that I haven't been able to kick into better gear, it's the protein intake. I understand that I should be eating half my body weight in protein, which means at 133 pounds, I should be eating upwards of 67 grams of protein a day. And I'm not doing that yet. I am having a protein shake every morning, so at least that's consistent. I've increased my fiber intake, which I'm grateful for because I definitely was having some constipation issues, but that seems to be settling. But I really want to focus my effort on the protein intake for these next couple of weeks. So that's going to be, where I'm going to set my mind to. Energy levels are great. I'm working out strongly in the gym. I'm finding a little bit of seasonal need to slow down the pace. And I don't know about you, but I feel this every time around this time of year, especially when the weather turns cold and the days are shorter. I just feel like I don't want to work out as hard. But that I can't ascribe that to the medication because that has been something I have been experiencing now for the last few years. So I'm not working out in the gym as regularly, but I'm walking every single day. I'm doing yoga regularly, and I'm just being kind. I've been reading a lot. I've been enjoying this season of just being kind to myself. And I think I can attribute that to this medication. I came looking for a miracle, and what I'm finding is that it is a miracle in many different ways, not just the weight loss. And so that's it. That's the unfiltered truth. If you liked what you heard, I would love for you to subscribe. So give me a thumbs up for this video, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you next Sunday, week 8.